It's no surprise that Sara Storer has won 22 Golden Guitar Awards. Her music never fails to make an impression because she tells stories from the heart about life, often with humor and always with awareness about the human condition. Her latest single, Layers, is no exception, and I'm looking forward to talking to her about it because it's a song that's had a big impression on me, and I'm sure it will have an impression on many people who listen to it. Hello, Sara.
G'day, Sophie. Thanks for having me.
It's great to talk to you again, and always a privilege because you're such an exceptional artist as a singer and as a songwriter. And I am interested in the songwriting story behind Layers.
Yeah, well, the idea came after being very moved one day because I had a phone conversation with a dear friend, but it's not only her, it's a number of friends and family members that call me. We ring to say g'day, and then the conversation moves to their teenage daughters, and that there are things going on that aren't good. And it all boils down to social media uh, and they get extremely upset and extremely angry. And so I then raced off to write a song. I didn't know where to start, but I thought I'm going to write it from the girls, from the teenage girls' point of view, I guess. Only because, yeah, I've talked to a few girls about it. And so I just wrote down what I thought. And I just wanted to come back to the chorus and make sure it is a very positive message in the chorus. Yeah.
Because there could have been a number of ways into that story. You could have taken the preachy route, the finger wagging route, and instead you did take. Well, it's no mystery that you took a storytelling route because you are a storyteller. But I think, yeah, the idea that there are layers to this girl. It's not just what you say on social media. It's not the TikTok happy TikTok life, as you would phrase it in the song.
Yeah.
So when you were writing it, did it take a bit of time to connect with that girl you were writing as, or once you started the process, did it come pretty quickly?
Oh, I remember where I was. I just went outside on the back table and I started thinking how it must feel for them. Um, and then I wrote it, but I don't know where I eventually come up with the word layers because the title always comes as a later date.
Right.
But I think I went, what you're seeing, stop looking at the layers, and not only talking about layers of weight, whether you're too big, too small, in the middle, nothing is perfect, right? Doesn't matter where you sit on that scale, ha ha weight.
Mhm.
It's not good enough, but it's also the layers of mental health because you've got a lot of different girls with different personalities and traits. Um, and yet, school is a big thing. It's always has been a big thing. You think back, and I think back to my days. Um, w- didn't necessarily get bullied, and wasn't in a. I was friends with everyone,
Mhm.
but over the years, talking with um, my friends over the years, we've matured and we're able to talk about these things. There's some girls that were really seriously bullied and that it's affected their life over it. But now we didn't have phones and that. We went home into the arms of our parents, said someone's picking on me and you get a cuddle. Now, of course, as we know, it goes on to all hours of the night.
Mhm.
And the reality is, it isn't reality. It's not real at all. It's fake. It's filters and it's girls maybe even pretending they've got this and that they don't have. And you know what it's like. You know what
Mhm.
it's like. You can get 100 positive messages that day and you get one negative and you go on the negative. And that can turn things around in an instant.
Yeah.
So I don't want it to be a big talk of because we've heard it all before. We know what's going on. So this song is more about, through the power of music, I'm singing for the girls and I want you in that moment to just go, hey, let's think about who we are underneath all these layers. We're one of a kind, we're unique, we're perfect, we're beautiful.
Mhm.
And I just hope that that's what this song can do in a little way, just a tiny bit, because we just want every day just bombard our girls, bombard them,
Mhm.
because that will help overpower what's going on in social media.
Hmm. And there was something you said about this song where you said perfection, girls have it. And I just loved that because it is so at odds with the message that girls get and women get for that matter, that that whole idea that you might just be inherently perfect is
Yeah.
it isn't said to anyone.
Well, and you know what? We're perfect in so many ways. Not it doesn't have to be our looks. It can be in lots of different forms. And we've all got our great thing going on. But gee, it must be hard for those young girls not looking at themselves saying, I don't look like that girl. And
Mm,
that's they're getting all the likes and I'm getting none. Or the little secret bullying that goes on. The bullying that we don't even hear about, you
yeah.
know? Because people can be vocal about it and good on you girls for being vocal. But what about all those girls and boys, I should add boys too,
Mm,
that don't call it out and don't tell their family. They're hiding there in their rooms tonight,
mm,
going through that horrible, horrible pain.
mhm.
So, I don't know, this as far as me and what I'm doing, it's just a song. It's just maybe one day they'll be walking past the radio and some beautiful person will play it and they might just listen and it gives them some encouragement to go back to their early years when they were fearless. Remember when you were
Mhm.
young and you
Yeah,
just didn't care that all that stuff didn't matter.
yeah.
And you were fearless and you loved yourself. You didn't even look at yourself as in what was wrong.
Mhm.
No. So, yeah.
Yeah, and little kids, before they hit adolescence are really embodied, like, they're so aware of the things their bodies can do, and they have fun with it, and then that
Yes.
disconnect can happen. I think social media is exaggerating that disconnection for girls in particular, but you have 4 school-age boys, and it's the boys are certainly not immune.
They're not, and I maybe I've been lucky with my boys, they're not too caught up in, oh, the fashion, I've gotta have this and that because they're all hand-me-downs and no one's complained yet. But I do notice, like, gotta have they're wearing these Nikes and that. So it all happens. There's a lot of pressure on kids because a lot of parents, and especially in today's world, can't afford to keep up with all that, with the right fashion and that. And it just takes someone to be horrible. And yeah, it's, I think all kids should just walk around with a t-shirt saying, be kind.
Yeah,
Kind is beautiful. That would really help because before they go to open their mouths,
yeah.
they look at the t-shirt and it's be kind.
Yeah. And
Mm.
also remembering that for teenagers, the stakes are always the highest. I remember once talking to an actor who was playing, who was not a teenager, but who was playing a teenager because he looked quite young. And I just said, well, how do you connect to that sense of being a teenager? He said, you've got to remember that for teenagers, everything is the end of the world, basically. Like all the stakes are really high. But of course, it is when you're a teenager looking at social media and someone says something nasty to you, that does feel like the end of the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. They are. They're young. Their brains haven't developed. They can't think like an adult. So it becomes the end of the world.
Mm.
Absolutely. So the social media is extreme when you
Mhm.
think about then on a scale. We can't even imagine. We probably don't know how it is because we're adults and we can deal with it kind of. But those kids, they it's probably way over the whatever it is that thing that goes like that. It goes boom, boom,
The
boom,
pendulum.
and that's it, and it explodes.
When you said, "Oh, you hope that maybe there'll be a girl going past a radio and someone will play the song," and you said this song is not going to change the world, but I'm actually inclined to disagree about the impact your song could have, or any of your songs could have it, because it really only takes one person to feel less alone because of this song, and that can change their life for the better, and that in turn changes life for the people around them who care for them, and those ripples can go quite far. So I think it's often the tricky thing about being an artist is that you'll never know how many people you impact with the song. Like there could be one girl who feels that
Mm,
that's actually really helped her, and
yeah,
they're never going to tell you.
that's right. Well, I've written it for a couple of girls that I adore and love. And that's purely where it came from. I never just go out and go, oh, right, there's the market. That's what I'm going to do. It's always because something hits my heart and I go, oh, and then I rush off because that's how I express myself, I guess, and want to help through song. And it's hard, in the for for me as a songwriter, it's sometimes really hard to get your songs out there. But I think, oh well, doesn't matter. Um, I'm writing. I'm not. It's hard to explain because I never write for my business or to be successful. I write because it matters to me.
Mm.
And so if someone plays it out there, I just go, oh, thank you so much, because that opens an opportunity for someone who's never heard my music, or just walking past, as you said, and hears it, and someone says, I'm going to play that to my daughter. I'm going to
Mhm.
play it to my granddaughter. So that's what at the end of the day matters. And it's
Mm.
always been the same. Like, I was on the road with my brother Greg, two weekends ago now, and I just get so excited. I get up on stage and we do our shows, and I said, I feel like I'm still back when it was chasing buffalo days.
Wow.
Like, I think I look out there and I think everyone's new in the audience. They've never heard my music. I can't wait to tell them my song and my story.
Yeah.
Um, and I guess it's just about connecting to people. And again, when you write a song that's like this, where do you start? Do you
Mm.
write it as, like you said, you're going to be the preacher and you shouldn't be doing this, you naughty people? Where do
Mhm.
you come at it? But I've got people really close to me, and I know the girls, and so that's how this song came about. So I'm going to write it from their perspective. And
Mhm.
I guess the chorus is a little bit of me just saying, hey, don't forget,
Yeah.
under all those layers, you're one of a kind. Yeah.
Yeah. So you were saying that you write things because they're in your heart, and I have this sense as you're talking about it that like this is a heart of infinite capacity, but also I would imagine it can be somewhat of a burden to carry that many stories and carry that many things you want to express and not necessarily be able to get them out when and how you want to.
Yeah, I mean, that can happen when you want to write something and it's just coming out wrong and wrong and wrong. There's a perfect example. I've got a new song, um, which will be out on the new album,
Mhm.
maybe out. We haven't really set a date, but we're looking at April next year.
Mhm.
So now, as you're aware, we drop singles
Mhm.
and then you drop the album. So things
Mhm.
are changing. So I've had Under Darwin Stars, Layers, and I'll
Mhm.
put out a new song with the album. But there's 12 new tracks, which I can't wait for everyone to hear. But there's a song on there that is perfect for this question.
No.
And it is something that was annoying the hell out of me, and I sounded bitter and twisted and
Mhm.
angry, and I kept writing it, and I came off looking bad. So I'd scrap it, I'd screw it up and put it in the bin. But every day it was there going, they said this, they said this. And so I finally got it, and it's called Sing Her Heart Out.
Mhm.
And I had a bit of feedback from the industry that I don't want it bad enough. And it annoyed me because I do want it bad enough. I want it, I want it all, but it's hard in a small country.
Mhm.
It's hard when you have four boys, when you're away for, I call it like 10 days and things go pear shaped after
Yeah.
10 days, right?
Yeah.
So you do weekend work because no one goes out on a weekday anymore. So you have to do weekend work. So you can't just do a set tour. And the music world now is saturated in music.
Mhm.
That little old Sara Storer, who's, you know, in and out of the music scene every now and then, it becomes really hard. And I do want it bad. And I just go, well, I'm just going to keep doing what I do. And
Mhm.
and anyway, I got the song. Sing her heart out. That's what I'm saying. 5 hours later, everyone, I got the song. Sorry, I do waffle.
You do not at all waffle, Sarah. You're telling stories, and also, I mean, I think for you, your songs, I always think have always this kernel or kernel, however you want to pronounce it, in there. That's like I can almost not see the process, but I have this sense that you start from this detail, and then the story sort of unfolds from there, a bit like the heart expanding. But I'm really interested / frustrated on your behalf that someone said that you don't want it bad enough, because I also think it depends on the definition of it, right? Like for you as an artist and the heart of infinite capacity, I would think for you, the it is actually the ambition to connect with people, to get those stories out there and to have it travel, as opposed to, oh, I really want an ARIA award and that's a stated ambition. I mean, these are different sorts of ambitions, and some ambitions are seen to be valid because they are industry recognized, and some ambitions are completely intangible, like the one to connect with as many people as possible.
Well, at the end of the day, I just want to be real, and I want to be real. I
Yeah.
was going to say humble, but I just want to be me, and I don't want to do anything that's not me. So I struggle at times with social media. I do, and I apologize to everyone out there with having to do posts and that, because I'm like, oh, why should I have to do this? Just turn up to my show, like the old days when you
Yeah.
when you used to turn up. I didn't have to beg and plead. But like I said, there's a lot going out and on out there. And there's a lot of people doing Facebook after Facebook post, and people love that. And I don't know, I think they just get to see too much of what's going on. And I struggle. It's not that I struggle. I don't understand it, I guess. I just don't know whether it does any good or not yet. And I don't know. So I tend to then not do it because I worry about giving people too much. And, it's all recorded and you're there forever.
Mm.
Yeah, anyway, in
It is
some,
tricky. It's tricky to get it's a different, completely different track to making music.
it is. All I do is I go, well, what's my brain thinking? And today my brain is thinking songs, because yesterday I heard something that I thought, wow, that is a song. So then I go off and I'll spend, and then once I write that song, then I'm on a song roll and I just can't stop. I'm like, oh, that was so much fun. I really love this song. I think it's pretty good. I think it'll make the album. So maybe there's another one just around the corner. So then but then sometimes when that just like flat lines and there's nothing, I do painting. And have I talked to you about my
Yes.
painting? I
Yeah,
have.
yeah, yeah. And in fact, I was
Okay.
going to ask you about it, but here we are. Fantastic.
So I move on to painting, and I go through these two creative sort of worlds of, oh, I'm never going to write a song again. I'm just doing painting. And then I'm in painting world and I start painting. And then I finish that and I go, I'm never going to paint again because I'm too busy writing songs. It's a really lovely place to be. I love it, because if I run out of songs, I can move over to that, into painting world. And so I'm in a crazy stage in my life, because you go back just a few years. Well, 2017 was when I put my first bit of paint on a canvas. Prior to that, it was just music. And now it's music and painting. And it's been so good for me, because if one dries up, I can move to the other. And I find I've been doing that. Yeah.
You found a way to keep your creative well full the entire time, which I think is really rare and hard to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. And I do love the creative part. Just makes me smile. It's like having, it's like eating ice cream and every day of your life. It's a crazy way to look at it, but it just makes me smile. If someone says, can you write a song or can you paint me something? Everything else gets forgotten. I'm like, yes, I can. It's not like, can you do my tax return? Like that, I just go back to bed and pull the doona over my head. You know what I mean? But some people would love to hear the tax return.
Yeah.
So I get to do what I love every day, and it's wonderful.
I think saying it's like eating ice cream is just reinforces that it should be fun, it should be a joy, it should be a treat, and that often it's not thought of in that way. It is this kind of mythology around creativity that it has to feel hard, that you've got to eke it out of yourself as opposed to really enjoying it. But as you said, you're just enjoying it all the time.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I really am. And I try, and I've started on my kids just saying, just do something you're really happy with because it gets you up in the morning. If you've got something to get you up in the morning because you love what you do, it's great. And hey, you know what? People go, "Oh, well, aren't you lucky? You just got hit with the bloody talented stick. Ding on your head." It's not easy to write a song and paint. Well, you've got to find your niche, I guess, and to find what you love. Just everyone loves something, whether it's cooking or creative world or the brains, maths and science. So stick with what you love, I reckon, because we're not here for a long time. I wrote Buffalo Bill and I said, if I were born 50 years ago, well, now I'm up on stage singing. If I were born 50 years ago, I wouldn't like to be a buffalo. Well, and I get off stage and I go, yeah, well, I have been born 50 years ago now. Where did that time go? My God,
Yeah.
it was quick.
Yeah, well, you've been busy creating things, songs, children for one thing, and a life and a rich, full life.
Yeah,
But just on the point about you were hit with a talented stick, and it's often interesting when that's said because it requires talent and application to do what you do, and it requires you to also stick with it for quite a long time. And I always remember the American writer James Baldwin said, "I know a lot of talented ruins." And of course, so many people have talents and they just rely on that. And then, of course, if you don't do something with it, if you don't know how to apply it and you don't stick with it and basically practice your craft as you've been doing, the
yeah.
talent actually doesn't take you very far.
I so agree with that. I do. If you give up, I mean, there's been times where I said, "Oh, I'll hang my boots up. It's all too hard," but I get so bitter and twisted. And I want to do it. I want to do it as a career. I want to show people that I can do this too. It's not just having fun all the time. There is a business side to it all as well. And I want to be successful too. And I want people to take me seriously.
Mhm.
Um, and I often think back to my childhood and I think, would I have been the songwriter without my parents? Because I've met some musicians, their parents absolutely there's no music in them whatsoever and they become geniuses. And I think maybe it's handed down a little bit too. My dad played by ear and he would play music by ear. So he didn't know notes. My mum learnt piano, so she knew theory. But my dad was always so in the morning on a squeeze box playing music at 7 o'clock before he had to go and jump on the tractor or whatever before we went to school, playing Celtic jigs and then he'd find a song and he'd say, listen to this, Sar, listen to the lyrics, listen. So he was teaching me, but I think might have been just a little bit blessed that I was cluey enough to understand what was going on. So when I'd listen to songwriters, okay, gee, that's clever. So
Mhm.
I'm one of the lucky ones, and I'm still doing it to this day, and I'm still learning from this day. Now, that's another one. Anyone who's out there, you just think, oh yeah, you just keep writing. No, I still write stuff to this day and go, how the hell did I just do that? You guys may not notice so much, but I notice what I've done in a song that's different from all the other songs. And it might be a tiny little thing that you won't pick up on that I'll go, wow, just keep going. And I do believe my vocals keep getting better. Yeah, as time goes on.
I agree with you actually. And partly what I love about your vocals is that it's still very much identifiably you as it was. with Chasing Buffalo, but the sound is richer and stronger in a lot of ways, and I can hear that on the most recent singles. And I could also hear it on your album Storer with Greg that you
Yeah.
made. So yeah, and I love that sense that you as an artist, instead of thinking, oh well, maybe I should just do other things with my life, it's actually no, I think I'm, or it feels like you're coming into your power, if that makes sense.
Yeah, vocally, I think I now know what works well with singing when I'm on the mic. I'm a lot more confident when I go into a studio. Yeah, I can still be challenged vocally with a song, but I have the confidence to try and I can I can sort of overpower that and go, you've been doing this for a long time. I'm very quick to, if negative thoughts come in, I get rid of them very quickly.
Right.
And that has taken years of experience to do that and to just be confident in myself, to believe in myself.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, and I think my vocal is at its best at the moment. But it comes down to confidence. I struggled with confidence for years and years and years, and I still struggle. I think confidence has taken a lot away from my music, especially in my early days.
Right.
Um, Only now is it that I jump on stage and I just go, you know what? I'm just going to sing it this way. And it's hard to explain, but I might hold a note longer. I might put a trill in a different way. And I have the confidence to do it. And I do it. And I go, wow, that sounded so cool. And I did it. But I'm only just doing that now at 50 because
Mhm.
I just stuck to the song in case I made a mistake, in case someone judged me. And here
Right.
we go. Let's go back to layers to,
Yeah.
like we're adults and we deal with this, that
Mhm.
constant worrying about what people think and social media. And even now when I put up posts, I go, I just don't want to put a post up of me because I don't look like I'm 26 anymore. And people say, but you're 50 and you're beautiful and just you are who you are. And people aren't looking at that. They're looking at you and your songs and what you've got to say and
Mhm.
tell the world. And I have to remind myself. And so songs like Layers are good for me too, because they remind me, Sarah, pull your head in.
Yeah.
You are beautiful and just you are you. And you know what? Before you know it, we're out of here, aren't
Mhm.
we? So
Yeah.
we just got to put our mark down, see you later, and be a good example to our kids and our grandkids.
Yeah. And I did actually have a question about you as a younger artist. When Chasing Buffalo came out in 2000, you became a public figure at that point. You started winning golden guitars, and I remember around that time when that album came out, and that for you would have been an adjustment. And then in some ways, I do think that children being on social media, they become public figures. And so whereas that's something that before social media existed, it required you to put an album out, you had interviews, there was all sorts of press you would have been doing, and you had some time to get used to that, but I'm still sure it was a big adjustment. But these kids, like, they're going straight into adolescence and suddenly they're exposed, and their brains have to adjust to that too.
Well, back when I did Chasing Buffalo, I sat in a room and I did maybe 2 to 3 days of radio interviews, which was
Mm.
16 interviews in a row.
Oof.
So there were big days. I'd sit and my record company would book out a motel or whatever, beautiful, and we would just go bang, 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 bang. And one day was over, next day, and that was it.
Yeah.
And you used to do the Today Show and all those things. Now that that's another story. You don't get us to be on there, but these now kids are having to put their face on there. They're having to it's I can't I imagine I don't like doing it myself, let alone being a young person,
Mhm.
worrying about what they look like. And I don't know if you watch, because I watch, the kids are always on TikTok, and it's always these performers, it's always loud and
Yeah.
carry on and this acting. And then you see their parents in the background acting as well. Like,
Mm.
don't you love that when you see the parents encouraging this nonsense that goes on?
Yeah.
Um, and you go, these kids, that's what they're up against. This whole show. It's such a
Yeah.
big show,
Yeah.
and nothing is real. It's all just acting, and you got to beat the next person.
Yeah.
And guess what gets forgotten? The music and the song.
Mhm.
The song that's written and the music, the beautiful music that wraps around that. Because you're too busy begging and pleading people to come to your show or having a certain look. By the way, look at this. I this was me after running out. I've been out at helping out my brother. They needed bearings. Then we had to pick up a trailer. And tomorrow I've got to get up and go out at I'll be on the road at 6. I got to pick up tractor tires. I love it. I'm home for a bit of a holiday, and my brothers are
Inverted
going,
commas.
"Get
Holiday in
up,
inverted commas.
we
Yeah.
need you." So I haven't got time to do the hair and makeup, guys. I apologize.
Don't apologize. This is you. I mean, this is, but as you were talking about people putting on a show, I thought, well, part of the difficulty is there's nothing behind the curtain often, whereas your songs come from the very rich life behind the curtain, which you then get out on stage and deliver them to people, connect with people. So yeah, it's a conundrum, all of this. I'm not sure that what the
Conundrum.
solution is. Yeah.
I love that. I love that word, conundrum. Yeah, it is. But you know what's nice is I'm out here and I'm picking up bearings and picking up tractor tires and whatever. But when we sing our songs, it's real, and that's what I love about it. So whenever I go into singing a song, I go into the song and I feel it uh, because it's really going on. I'd hate to sing a song that is made up and you've written it from a table in the middle of Sydney and you've got no idea what any of it means because it just all rhymed and come together. That's why I love writing with my brother Greg, who's out in the middle of harvest at the moment, and my 3 other brothers. Um, I do love, and I think people know too when it's real and it really connects, because it doesn't sound silly. Yeah.
Well, when you were just talking about going to get the bearings, I thought, well, you and Greg have the song Dirt Kids about your children, but actually there's you two being dirt kids yourself still.
Yeah. Yeah. We both grew up on a farm. That song is Greg's song, and I love singing it. And I loved when I first heard it because I see all these kids. It's just exactly how it is, with prickles in their feet and a toenail half gone, and parents telling them what to do, and they're hopping around like a kangaroo. It's beautiful. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, the time I have you talking, it's actually getting quite late at night, and you've just told me you need to be out the door at 6 a.m. So, Sarah, I'm going to wrap it up.
Oh,
You can get to bed and then start it all again tomorrow on the tractor or whatever you're
Sophie.
doing.
Sophie, thank you so much. Actually, while we've been talking, I've seen Greg Storer's mobile come up.
Oh,
So he'll be like, I know what he'll be saying. He'll be saying, don't forget that case of beer as well when you come out
oh, yeah.
tomorrow.
Okay. Well, I'm going to wrap it up. I'll officially end the interview and then I'll turn it off and I'll properly say goodbye to you. Sarah, what a delight to talk to you. Thank you so much
Thank
for your
you
time.
again. Thanks, Sophie, and thanks for supporting my music, and in particular layers. And to any young girls out there, you are unique, you're beautiful, you're you, and believe in yourself because we do.